Okay, so we're in Superlab 1 and we've just finished our LSP maps that are pushing IP version 4 traffic down one LSP and IP version 6 traffic down another LSP. Now, where do we stand on balance with IP version 6? And it's a little bit complicated. The OSPF is going up to the route reflector, which is running LDP, so there is MPLS enabled on the route reflector. However, the OSPF is version 2. Now, OSPF version 3, which carries the IP version 6 information, that's not enabled to the route reflector. So the route reflector is MPLS enabled, but it's not IP version 6 on the IGP enabled. So even though we have routes that are coming in successfully with our LSP mapping, and even though we have various IP version 6 routes coming in, they can't be passed across the internal BGP because the route reflector doesn't know about them. Now in Superlab 2, we turn on INET 6 as an NLRI, and we don't turn on the full 6PE. However, in Superlab 1 here, we're going to turn on the full 6PE. So we're going to be tunneling all of the IP version 6. We're going to be tunneling it inside a labeled unicast explicit null, which is a type 2 label number 2, and we're going to be turning on MPLS IP version 6 tunneling. Now, as we know, that's going to copy the INET 3 into the 6.3. So if we were to do a show route table INET 6.3, we would see all of our LSPs with the v4 mapped addresses and all of those LSP paths are now INET 6.3 paths. Now, our route reflector is okay with that because it is running MPLS. It does have an INET 3. It will now have an INET 6.3. And we put the IP version 6 tunneling everywhere that copies this, that does this impact on the route reflector as well. We put the labeled unicast everywhere. We remember to retype the INET unicast because typing in labeled unicast effectively removes it. Put it on both clusters. And so now we're doing 6PE. This is a full 6PE, a full tunnel. All of the IP version 6 traffic is just going to be tunneled. Okay, and like I say, in Superlab 2, we're not doing that. We're just carrying the INET 6 NLRI. It's a slightly different setup there. We don't have MPLS up to the route reflector, slightly more complex. So what's going to have happened to the LSP mapping that we had for our IP version 6? Because we were on router 2, we were putting an LSP mapping into a path for traffic destined for P1's IP version 6. So we're matching that, that BGP route, and we were putting in the LSP next path. Well, we have it here. So run show route forwarding table, destination. This is an IP version 6 range that's coming from P11. We can see here the two labels. So the first label that goes on is actually the IP version 6 tunneling. So in a sense, that's taken a sort of a precedence. It's the first label that goes on, and then the outer label here is the transport LSP, and that relates exactly to the correct path for the IP version 6 traffic. So there we have it.